Have you ever wondered why monetizing a leased SBLC simply doesn't work? Well, today I'm going to show you something no joker broker can ever show you, which is behind the scenes what happens from a bank to bank perspective. You've got to watch this. Hi, my name is Taimour Zaman from Credit.ai. My organization is a category leader in 3 specific categories. One is providing loans internationally to clients using a program called Rent a Rich Uncle. The second thing we do is we help companies access banking instruments, monetize banking instruments. Because we are a private equity firm, we get a far higher LTV than the market can by itself. And the third area is we help clients in a specific niche called private placement programs. We assist on the strategy, we assist on diversification, we do forensic background checking using former FBI, CIA agents, and we just simply provide a lot of resources and strategies for people who want to participate in an area called private placement programs. If you haven't had the chance to subscribe to our YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe right now. This will give you access to our customer walkthroughs, our case studies, strategies, how-to videos like this one is, and as soon as they get available or published, you get the chance to see them for your benefit. So today I'm going to show you behind the scenes on what really happens when it comes to leasing any kind of a banking instrument from a bank-to-bank perspective. You want to see why monetizing these SBLCs doesn't work, why simply joker brokers simply don't understand this, what other monetizing strategies that also don't work, ability to understand when to use the broker community versus when to choose to work directly by a private equity firm like ours. And I want to give you some solutions that could be relevant to your situation and things that you might be considering doing in terms of leveraging your assets to turn them into cash. So behind the scenes, I'm going to share with you what happens when it comes to leasing a standby letter of credit, and I want to show you why monetizing a lease instrument doesn't work. Before I actually show you behind the scenes, what happens, I need to explain something that's very simple to understand for most people. Imagine that I have a car, I own a car, the name of the legal entity owner of the car is me, and you happen to travel to Toronto. You're looking to rent a car, lease a car, and I'm not interested in renting my car. So you call me up and you say, hey Taimour, you don't know me, I'd like to lease your car, and what is all the stuff that I need to go through so I can rent your car, lease your car from you. The things that I'm going to be thinking about, the things I'm going to be concerned about are probably the following. One, well, how much are you going to pay me for this car on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, yearly basis, like that. Second thing I want to ask is, I want to make sure is, how do I know you're going to give me back the car? If I'm going to rent you my car, you're going to take my car, I don't want you to run away with it, so I want to know how you're going to, what kind of collateral guarantee are you going to give me when I give you my car? Now you may say, well Taimour, I don't have, you have a, I don't know, $300,000 car, I may have to go get, give you my credit card, and I have to buy insurance as an example. But some kind of collateral somebody needs to give me before I rent you, seriously, like before I lease you my car. Then the third is the conditions. If I'm going to give you a car that's very nice, but I probably don't want you to return the car with me with scratches on it. That'll be conditions, right? If I'm going to give you the car with a tank that's full of gas, well, I don't want you to return the car back to me that's half empty. I probably want you to give it to me in a tank that's full of gas, like that. So I really want to know what the conditions are. These are the things that I probably want to make sure you and I are understanding on the same page, and we're going to do. Great. So having said that, now let me show you what happens behind the scenes when you want to lease a real instrument. So we go to a document that's called a Global Master Securities Lending and Borrowing Agreement. Truly, 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 this is something that must happen whenever you're leasing a standby letter of credit or you're leasing any kind of a banking instrument. There has to be a global master securities agreement between a lender and a borrower. The lender and borrower have to come up with what is the details of the security. Security. Remember, if I'm going to give you my car, what kind of security are you going to give me? What's the commencement of the transaction? How am I going to deliver the document to you? How are you going to re-deliver the document back to me? It's called the delivery of banking instruments. What's the rate? So how much am I going to charge you for it? Ownership of the banking instrument. I want to make sure that this $100 million SBLC, as example, guess who's the owner? Guess who's the owner? Guess who's not the owner? Guess who has no right to monetize something that you don't own? It's not yours for you to monetize it. It's illegal for you to monetize it. Then it's like the borrower's right to terminate, borrower's right to delivery, substitute of collateral, lender's warranty. So you want to make sure that the lender's covered, a borrower's warranty. What are the stuff that needs to cover the borrower? The borrower needs to provide banker's information, so your bank needs to know about this. Event of default, what happens if I'm going to charge you 10% annualized a year and there's a default that happens, and all the notices, governing jurisdictions, miscellaneous penalties, and so on. Those are all the basic stuff. Now here comes the awesome stuff. Draft for conditional ICPO. This has to be on a borrower's letterhead, banker's information in it, and then you simply write down to the lender what's the asset you're going to give them. Asset you're going to give them. That's irrevocable, assignable, transferable, callback, cashback for the instrument that you want to give them, and then how are you going to assign that asset to them. And then you want to give them something called unconditional promissory note. So I, as the lender of that instrument, to simplify it, if I'm going to give you a car, I want an unconditional promissory note, the details of that. And then it's a SWIFT MT103, which is the money to be sent. That's the basics of leasing an asset, truly, truly, truly. Once you've got the, hey, I'm going to give you an asset, I'm going to lease it to you, here are the terms, what kind of collateral you're going to give me. That's when you go to all the other regular banking stuff, like what's the MT760, but what's called the closing procedure and how that happens. So this contract must happen between you, your banker, and the lender of the instrument. So that's that. So now remember, the borrower has to provide some kind of guarantee, warranty on that. Now, for the purpose of this story, the example that I picked is I am going to be the borrower and I want to borrow a leased SBLC. I need to have a collateral, and I have a really rich uncle. Let's just say that. My rich uncle is happy to give me something called medium-term notes. So that's what he's going to give me as collateral. The medium-term notes have to be registered from a banking perspective that is now being given in possession of the lender. So now the lender needs to make sure that somehow there is collateral. So how we do that, how banks do that behind the scenes, this is something that's really important. This is something what I would say most brokers simply can't comprehend for some reason, is that you have to go to Bloomberg, places like Bloomberg, and that's when you register the MTN that my rich uncle is giving. So that when you go to a Bloomberg screen and you put in the MTN, the ISI number or QSIM number for the MTNs, whatever that identifies the MTNs, if I go to Bloomberg screen, it has to say who the owner of the MTN is, my rich uncle, and then who has assignment of it, which is the lender. Now, for the purposes of a public domain conversation, I have not shared the true Bloomberg screen. So once again, this is not the true Bloomberg screen that happens, but I want to actually show you what truly happens behind the scenes, is that somebody needs to have collateral for you to get a leased instrument. That collateral needs to be registered somewhere in the name of the lender. That's super critical to understand. One of the things that frustrates me with what I call our joker brokers, they simply don't understand this. They have no way of actually comprehending this, and they come up with false statements like monetizing leased SBLCs, which is just purely illegal. So if you need help in this area, if you want to lease an instrument, buy an instrument, you need some help in this area, please go to our website, noncredit.ai, and book a coaching call with us. We're happy to sit down, and it's a paid call. But we give you your years of experience helping you come up with a strategy that's best suited for you and your needs. Okay, so from there, I want to go into brokers have a lot of value that they offer to the marketplace. Sometimes they call themselves facilitators. Sometimes they'll tell you they have direct line to monetizers. Sometimes they'll call themselves every week I come across so many brokers and they have fancy names. Facilitator, sometimes they actually call themselves brokers, sometimes they'll say whatever they say. But anybody who can show you a legal banking license or some kind of a registered securities license is what I call a joker broker. That's just what I call them. LionCredit.ai, we're a private equity firm. You can go into our services that others can't perform, and you can see what's the difference between working with a private equity firm like ours versus the broker community. Sometimes you may want to have deep technical expertise as somebody in your team to assist you with your projects versus hiring or working with a broker who's just there to get a commission by taking a document and sending it to 10,000 people. But that's what they do. So there are other times when monetizing instruments, whether it's a lease SBLC or not, simply doesn't work, and I want to give you a couple of examples for you to understand. Cases where we've seen that this doesn't work is when you are what I call the exit group. So what is the exit group, and why isn't that exit groups make money? So imagine I have $1 billion in my bank account, and I want to issue a set amount of credit. All I do is I don't need a broker to do that for me. I call my banker. Remember, I'm the owner of the money. If I really have $1 billion or even $100 million, I promise you there's zero value that a broker offers me. I pick up the phone. I probably have a direct phone number of my banker, and I say, hey, Johnny or Sam or whatever, can you give me a set amount of credit? I want to issue a set amount of credit. The banks, all banks, charge 1 to 1.5% of the face value of the instrument. So that's what it's costing me to issue a set amount of credit. That's my cost. Now I can lease it for 10%, annualized. I can sell it for maybe 50% of the face value of the instrument. I've seen personally, Taimour Zaman, I've seen lots of businesses. I can tell you, issuing and monetizing SBLCs is one of the most profitable businesses I've ever seen. I mean, it costs you 1.5% to issue a real instrument, as long as you're the actual owner, and you know, you're selling it for 50% like off the face value of the instrument. That's a very profitable business. You can't go wrong with that. So I'm the owner of the money. I sell the instrument to a person called Jim. I'm going to use stories because most people understand stories. So some guy called Jim agrees that he's going to buy the instrument from me at 50% LTV. Now what Jim is looking for to make money is something called an exit group. He's looking for another group who's willing to pop in and buy that instrument or lease that instrument for him, but not at 50% LTV, at 75% LTV at that. And that's when we get a lot of calls from what I call our joker brokers. And they'll say, we have a transaction we're going to make lots of money on. I want you, the private equity firm, to give me an RWA, proof of funds for this instrument that I don't have. Well, why don't you have the instrument? And once you dig into it, it's because whoever who actually has the money, right, it's got to some kind of agreement with somebody else who's going to buy that instrument or lease that instrument for them. So that guy who's got the money is going to make a lot of cash out of it. The second guy is looking for a exit group. And that's when a lot of, unfortunately, the broker community are not financially savvy. Now a lot of them understand credit facilities or credit markets or credit swaps. At best, they come from retail banking, which is a complete different language of banking like that. And then the broker gets excited, oh my God, if I can get somebody to buy this instrument at 8% LTV and we're buying at 50%, man, we're going to make so much money. That person is called the exit group. And from my years of experience, I can tell you exit groups make no money. Unfortunately, a lot of them have families, kids who are praying, hoping that they actually make some money. And these are a bunch of uneducated people who don't use common sense, and they do something called chasing the rainbow or chasing a shiny object. And that's all they're doing, is spend so much of their life, so much of their time doing this. And I wish that, I hope that a lot of people watch these videos and get trained on credit swaps, credit markets, so they can actually do transactions that will close. Anyways, so another monetization, when you want to monetize a banking instrument, whether it's leased or not, that when it doesn't work, oftentimes, is when you don't have the right languaging. The truth is, every year there's billions of dollars in instruments that get issued that people actually receive the instrument and they simply can't monetize it because they didn't have the right language. When you want to get an instrument issued, you want it to be as close as you can for that instrument to be to cash. So you want it to be cash back, you want it to be irrevocable, you want it to be unconditional, you want it to be transferable. These are keywords that you want to make sure it has. And if it doesn't have all the keywords, you will be, unfortunately, part of the statistics, part of the many people that will get an instrument that you simply cannot monetize. Now, linecredit.ai, I don't mean to market this, I don't mean to sell this, but we do have an online store, and you can purchase standby letters of credit that have given our clients the highest LTV, and that's something you can, for lack of a better word, count on the languaging and so on. And so I highly recommend that if this is the first time, or even the 10th time of you trying to do this, I recommend look at instruments that are actually giving high LTVs, the languaging. The next time that I find that a lot of times that monetizing instruments simply don't work, this is specifically from the broker community, is that they don't have a relationship, an authentic, real relationship with the money owner. So if I have $1 billion, as an example, I want to issue $100 million, all I'm doing is I'm calling my banker, I'm going to say, Mr. Banker, I have $1 billion. Yes, you do, Mr. Client. I'm going to issue $100 million SBLC, and that's what I want you to do. So what the bank does is they're holding, like administrative hold, a block, $100 million in my $1 billion account. That $100 million gets issued a standby letter of credit, which is really a piece of paper. And a lot of brokers are trying to juggle monetizing instruments or trying to purchase or lease instruments, but they don't have a real relationship with the guy who actually has the cash. The guy who has the cash may or may not want to monetize or issue an instrument, but even if they are, because there's so many hungry commission-driven brokers out there, it doesn't cost the guy who owns the money to get 5 brokers or 50 brokers to jump around trying to monetize the instrument, bring buyers in like that. And I've seen lots of brokers who spend so much time, sweat, they work really hard to find the buyer, and then they find out they didn't sign exclusivity with the client. And they found out the client went another direction like that kind of thing. So unfortunately, this is some of the popular ways where I see that instruments simply don't get monetized. So I'm going to offer some solutions, some ideas for you to consider. One of them is you can actually purchase a standby letter of credit, truly a fresh cut standby letter of credit, for the price of a leased standby letter of credit. I want to show you how we specifically do it. This is how we do it. There's probably 10,000 other ways of doing it. I'll just tell you how we do it like that. We get clients to a lease SBLC ranges between 10 to 12 points as the cost of $100 million SBLC if you want to lease it. What we do is we ask for $12 million. We take that $12 million and we put it in something called a private placement program. That's what we do. That private placement program generates a lot of profit for us, and then we use a portion of that profit to buy or really buy a $100 million SBLC for the client at a real market price of 50%, so $50 million at that, and then we give the client a fresh cut instrument that they get to own, something that's worth truly worth $50 million. We paid $50 million for it, but we give to them for 12 million. Why? It's because we leverage the 12 million first in a private placement program, generate profit out of it, and then leverage the profit to purchase a real instrument and give it to them at the price of a leased instrument. So that's what we do. That's a great solution for somebody who's looking to get an SBLC. We give them a far better product for that. The next one is that making sure that you have the correct language. That's super important. You want to make sure you've got language that's transferable and as workable. And then there are times where you actually want to work with a private equity firm directly instead of a broker community, because I think a private equity firm like ours will have a lot of technical expertise, relationships with banks, and we can help you do things that others probably cannot do. My name is Taimour Zaman. At this moment, I want to answer some frequently asked questions, and I want to thank you so much for your time. So I now want to take a minute and answer some of the most frequently asked questions we get. Question number one we get is, well, why choose lineofcredit.ai? Lineofcredit.ai is a private equity firm. When it comes to purchasing instruments, as an example, if the fresh cut SBLC is, let's say, $50 million, we're able to get it at $48 million. So we're able to get a little bit cheaper. If it is monetizing instrument, often, not always, or I should say sometimes maybe, we're able to get a far higher LTV than the client can get by themselves. When it comes to getting a line of credit and loan, we provide a specific service. We buy courtesy deposits from a bank so that that bank will give the client far more capital than the bank would do it without the courtesy deposits, and the client get far more capital using our programs compared to any alternative programs that they could have access to. When it comes to non-recourse loans, I consistently were able to provide far more money than brokers or other alternative offers services can offer. So I can go into every single service. We offer 3 services, and every one of them, I believe, we have an unfair competitive advantage in marketplace, and that's one of the reasons why consistently I see us getting a lot of market share from that. This I thought was a very fascinating question, and the question is, some of your competitors have bad reputations online. Why is it that you guys don't? I love that question. I don't get that every day, and there's a politically correct answer, and then there's a truthful answer. The political correct answer is the reason, as of the date of this video, the reason we don't have any bad reputation online, or the reason people are not suing us, I like to think it's because we operate in a high level of integrity. All my associates have a very high level of integrity, transparency. We have deep technical expertise. We know what we're doing. We know a lot of what's called matters of the law and so on. And I think that's the politically correct question or answer to that. But I want to talk about the truthful answer. The truth is, every large institution, and I don't care which one, whether it's you want to buy a car, you want to buy, whether it's Google, Facebook, every large institution that you do business with today, if you look in their P&L, you will see that they have lawsuits as part of their business. It's just part of every organization. At some point, when you grow fast enough, You have to have people complain about you. You have to have litigations against you. If you don't have litigations, please don't hear this the wrong way, but I feel it's a lack of the CEO having a big vision. The fact is, this is just a fact. Pick any of the largest companies that you work with, you buy something from today, large Fortune 500 companies, and look in their P&L, and you'll have you will see lawsuits against that company that either they're like people are suing them for missed promises and so on. AtlantaCred.ai, as of the shooting of this video, knock on wood, we don't have anybody litigating against us. I'm not planning on having people litigate against us. I'm not hoping people will litigate us, but I expect as part of our business growth strategy, we'll get to a point where we have to have people. It's just not normal. It's just not normal for people not to complain or be disappointed, be emotional, and do something about it. Money is, end of the day, it's a very emotional business. An a line of credit or loan, it might be because we told the client, yes, we can get you the loan. By the time they gave us the paperwork, they were way overpriced on square meters, or something was faulty, or something was inauthentic. In an instrument, maybe they gave us an instrument with the line where the capital from the instrument was already cleared before we got it. In a private placement program, as an example, it could be faulty proof of funds that they would have, and so people get very emotional and upset when they're about to do a transaction and it goes wrong the other way. And once again, I'm not looking forward to litigations, but I really, truly, this is the truthful answer. I find that at some point in your organization, you must have people litigate against you or say bad things about you, however they do that, like that. And I expect that to happen as part of a factors, as part of a fast-growing business. The advice I have for you, whether you want to work with us or competitors that have bad reputation, is you always want to talk to the principal. You want to get a gut check feeling. Is this person authentic? Do they operate on a high level of integrity? Like that, and that's my recommendation to anybody. The next one is we claim that we get paid for results. That's true on our website, and most of our services don't have any upfront fees. That's correct. When do you get paid an upfront fee, and when do you not? In my business, I get a lot of what I call junk leads. That's just what I get, a lots of junk leads. So in order to eliminate the junk lead, I ask for people to hire us on a coaching basis, on a consulting basis for 1 hour, and the fee is I think $197. So whatever the fee is, I don't know, but there's a fee we charge people up front. We do that so that it's really designed to eliminate the junk leads. It's designed to kill the people that or authentically don't want to work with us. It's designed for people that are shopping around to have a reason not to call us. It's really designed that way. That way, out of 75 to 300 inquiries that we get per day, or whatever we get per day, it kills most of them because they're not interested in working with us. So that's I would say that's an upfront fee, but my sales funnel is I want people to hire us on an hourly basis to begin with. This really makes sure that now they're on the hook, that if they want us to monetize the instrument, or if they want us to help them get a business loan or help them in a private placement program, this really helps eliminate the junk leads people, for sure. If I have to find a bank as a service, or I have to find an investment group as a service, or if I have to find an organization that does something for a specific service, then we do like to get paid about $37,000. That money goes into a law firm. We don't get paid for it, but upon us delivering a service of, hey, we found you the investor, or we find you the bank, or we find you the organization and do whatever it is you want us to do, then I want the law firm to release our money. So we still get paid on performance, but the reason I ask for an upfront fee for that is, once again, really the intention is to kill any junk leads out there. You know, there's in my career where I am right now, the only thing I cannot buy, like really the only thing I cannot buy, is time. So I put a lot of these little fees in there so that it kills the junk lead. Really, that's what I'm doing. But our real fees just like any other private equity firm, is on performance. It's only when we deliver the loan, the line of credit, it's only when we monetize the banking instrument, it's only when the client successfully gets into a private placement program is when we start to see results that we've never seen before. That's where our fees truly are. I put these small little fees in the sales funnel side of it just to make sure I kill out anything that is not authentically real. And that's just how we do it in our business. Another question I get is that, are there any new vehicles for project financing? And the answer is yes. We do have a service where if you have a cryptocurrency, you have real estate, you have good credit, you have whatever it is you have some kind of an asset. I call it a non-cash producing asset. So it really could be you may have a really good credit as an example, or you may have art as an example. There are lots of ways to monetize it and get you cash. And so typically what I like to find out from the client is how much cash are you bringing to the table. That's part one. Remember, I want to eliminate working with joker brokers. So I always ask the client or the broker, how much cash are you bringing to the table? There always has to be cash at the table for sure. And then what's the asset you're bringing in? And then how much you want to get for that asset. And then based on that, we structure a transaction. And then once again, our real money comes in at the back end when the client starts getting paid. But I'll talk about luxury art as just an example. So let's say you own luxury art. There must be some kind of an authentic, real document that says you own that art. Let's say it's Picasso and it's worth $10 million. Awesome. What I love to do is to take the document, the third-party keyword, third-party document that shows the value of the Picasso for $10 million. I can go get a lender who will loan money against it. Let's say if there's $10 million, they'll provide $5 million. Awesome. I'd like to then leverage that $5 million in various different financial institutions, and then put that $5 million that's being leveraged to, let's say, 10, 15 million in an investment vehicle. And that investment vehicle could produce maybe $100 million. And I want to share a portion of that with the client who's got a piece of art that's sitting in their wall, collecting, thus not producing any money for them. So that's a new vehicle for financing or getting access to financing for sure. Another frequently asked questions, I guess, why are companies hiring you or your team members as consultants? I feel that we have a lot of technical expertise. A lot of what we do is very technical specific, and that skill set is not readily available in the marketplace. Your finance professor necessarily wouldn't know how to monetize a banking instrument as an example, or wouldn't know how to use different leverage, different letters of credit to perform a specific function. They may not know what mirroring of funds is all about. They wouldn't know. There's just so many technical things that we've had the access to, and we've worked on over the years with clients, that oftentimes companies will hire us for 6 months basis, 3 months basis, and they'll say, Taimour, my goal is to sell my company at a 10 times multiples. What can you do for me? Looking at their assets, we can say, well, how about we lease this amount of credit for you and get you a $100 million asset. It will do this on an accounting principle, and then we can do this, and then this will help you position your company for sale. So there's lots of value in somebody hiring me or any of our associates. I like to say they get 20%, a minimum 20% return on investment or 150% return on investment. I like to make big claims on that. But at this point, I'm not open to sharing any of that information in a public domain. All I can tell you is that if you hire a subject matter expert and have a specific end outcome, that expert can really help create an exponential growth for you, your business, and your finances. The next question is, if I had to restart my career, what would I do differently, why, and with who? Before LineofCredit.ai, I used to invest in a lot in real estate. And then before that, I used to be a marketing consultant. So let me talk about marketing consultant. So if I did a marketing project for Microsoft, SAP, IBM, Siemens, some of the big brands were my clients. Let's say I would invoice them $100,000. Now I get $100,000. I pay tax on that $100,000. and then that money goes into my savings account, and I use it for my lifestyle expenses. Awesome. So that's my world before. My world now is if I had $100,000, I would put in let's say a central bank in Cayman Islands, get a bank that I may have shares in to create a credit facility out of it. So $100,000 will create a credit facility of $1 million. I will use that $1 million in 2 different private placement programs that I know and I trust. One, the entry point is $500,000. The other one, the entry point is actually a lot more. But I would then put that money into that private placement program, and I would do the $500,000 one does $11 million. And so now I make $11 million in 95 banking days. So compare the Taimour goes market yourself as a consultant, get a client, and then deliver the project in, let's say, 3 months, 9 months, whatever that project is. Awesome. But what if, and then I make $100,000. Awesome. Now, if I could take that $100,000, instead of rinse and repeating my consulting job, what I would do is take that $100,000, create a credit facility on it, put it in a private placement program, and now I have a lot of money. Now I can buy a Microsoft competitor as an example, should I choose to do so. I can do so much more. You know, a lot of people on the planet that I know are very good people that have genuine intentions in their heart, and they want to make a difference on the planet. But I believe no matter what you want to do in the world, you need money. It's just, I really believe whatever you want to do in the world, you need money. And so if you could get that money solved, you can do so many things that not having money would make it a lot more difficult. So that's what I would do if I had to restart my career. So that's it in a nutshell. Those are my frequently asked questions. My name is Taimour Zaman from NineCredit.ai. Thank you so much for your time and attention. I look forward to the opportunity of working with you. Please feel free to start engaging us through our coaching, consulting hour, and allow us to help you on some of the things that you're looking for on monetizing instruments, lines of credit, private placement programs, areas that you may need some help in. Thank you.